This is a video response for Sned. Hopefully, it's still called a video response if you respond to a comment, but it works for me. It's related to this new Star Wars series that I'm launching. You mentioned that you don't have a problem with sci-fi, as I was suspecting, but you darn it, I was really trying to put you in a box there, Sned. Yeah. Like, I only like cop movies from the 1980s. I only like gritty detective stories, and everything else can kiss my ass. I get what you're saying about the Star Wars universe, as they like to call it, the Star Wars extended universe, similar to the Marvel extended universe, similar to the DC extended universe. And you just don't know where to start. And in the case of Marvel, we can use Marvel or Star Wars. There's no substitution at all, I don't think, for being there, say, with Marvel during its great rebirth and watching Iron Man for the first time at the theater, or having a recorded from the TV on VHS with Dad using the pause button on the VCR so that the commercials would be cut out as we recorded Star Wars: A New Hope for TV, or being there when the Star Wars radio saga was on NPR for the first time. There's no substitution for that. It's going to be something that I'm going to propose we call the comic book effect. We know what comic books are. I'm guessing in England you have a cool nickname for comic book, like funnies, I'm sure, because y'all have a cool nickname for everything. I bet you got a sweet nickname for peanut butter too. Probably call it like Nutty Cream or something like that. But in my theory of comic books, what happens is you have a extended character study. Nothing necessarily dies in the end. You have established and created characters going through situations now. Superman dies, but Superman comes back and has more adventures. Wonder Woman dies, but Wonder Woman comes back and has different adventures. We know Wonder Woman's limitations. Maybe we don't. Maybe there's new limitations to Wonder Woman. All these different writers take these characters and plug them into scenarios and make a cool little story. What harms those stories, besides the obvious that you're saying, is the catalog seems to be so big that you don't know where to start or what's even going on, is when it doesn't follow its own rules. It's just the, as my daughter would say with Dungeons and Dragons, the rule of cool, which was something I had to explain to the AI when I was trying to test it over the weekend with Dungeons and Dragons. I never knew about the rule of cool or anything like that. Is it worth getting into? Yeah, it's worth getting into. But you have to sort of ask somehow if you're into it. Example would be before all this Star Wars became so nonsensical, and I asked Reward Audacity, who then was known as Shall Not Be Infringed. He was into the books that surround the Star Wars universe. So there were hundreds upon hundreds of books for Star Wars that went above and beyond and within movies. Like, you would have a New Hope book, but it'd have details that weren't in the movie, but still applied. And I didn't know which ones to watch or read first, rather. And he sort of helped me out as I think the bounty hunter thing. It was a Boba Fett story after Return of the Jedi, and then there's other things like the New Republic. And But if you just chill and you can look into it and watch it and go back if you're curious about what made that character, then it all plugs in. What sucks the wind out of the room is, to a point, it can be somewhat unoriginal. Can we not come up with an original character? Does it always have to be Han Solo, an indestructible character? Well, in the comic books, the character may not even be indestructible, and there's even a Star Wars comic book. Now, when you get on, if you have the streaming service, if you get on Disney Plus, you look at this thing and, man, you don't know where to shit squat or wind your watch, and you have to do research to see what order to watch the crap in. But again, there's no substitution within it, and you can't go back. You can't go back to seeing Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire? I get Tobey Maguire and Lizzie McGuire mixed up. Tobey Maguire, and just finally a good superhero movie. And that wasn't even Marvel. I think that was Sony back then. Sony or Universal. But those things get plugged into our minds, and here we are. But good looking out. And let me know what you think.